It's also a Wednesday born.
Interesting.
Yeah, Roland. But we have a couple of them, quite a good number of them here at Media General. Just to mention that we're live on Kesmi 107.1 FM in Tamale. We've always been live there. Chief Kesmi, good morning to you. And speaking of Kesmi, I want to say thank you to Sonar Fashions in Tamale for my outfit, as always. 0246590162. Get something special. It's Wednesday. Where's your fugu, Marina? Where's your fugu? What happened to your fugu?
I'm in a uniform, so I just like to keep the uniform.
We
going.
have a makeup and wardrobe department, Charlie,
Yeah.
Marina.
So I am in a uniform because
Right.
of
Yes,
other assignments.
Other assignments. Yes, I get
a
that.
lot later in the
Don't
day.
no louder. Don't
Yeah,
shout it. Yeah, we understand. We understand. Well, this morning I heard you talk about well, as on the back end. I wanted to rush in, but the gentleman said what he's tired of. So he cut off what.
Yeah, I was.
He's
He
cutting
says
off his.
it is a
cutting off the pen drive.
It's a spiritual something that.
How
it
will he be
comes on-
downloading anything useful if he cuts down the pen drive?
It's a question that will remain for the gods.
Because they brought the CPU. Jesus. Oh, Lord. The Ghanaian Times this morning says, health alert. Waste dumping continues at Boom landfill site. Despite closure warning, Court of Appeal dismisses Wuntumi's second bid to halt mining trial. 3 assemblies failed to account for 533,810 Ghana cedis at the PAC Public Accounts Committee hearing in the Ashanti region, Kumasi. Revoke Health, Heath Goldfield's mining contract. CACA urges Lands Natural Resources Minister. On the back page, health sector media collaboration key to closing public health gaps. Dr. Amesia, close footbridge at Kanishi. Pedestrians traders demand traffic lights. Well, I thought the mayor had created an ampere way for them, especially there's some zebra crossing, but they say that's not enough. Mayor Papality of the AMA, good morning to you. He's doing some great work as well. The mayor's doing some great work, insisting on what has to be done. The Daily Graphic, that's Ghana's oldest newspaper.
Yeah, longest.
Sylvia Inkum named first National Bank CEO. Revolving rubber fund. Outgrowers evade repayments for 20 years. Banks, industry players petition ministries to revive the scheme. And Ghanaian immigrants.
Rubber fund.
Yes. Ghanaian immigrants to benefit from Spanish immigration amnesty. Get Fund releases 199.47 million Ghana cedis to settle free SHS and TVET arrears. And on the back page of that paper, that's the Daily Graphic, Southong MP launches Green Scholars Project Southong, and PPA upgrades infrastructure cost estimator tool. What do you have there? The New Finder newspaper. That's those are the latecomers.
Yes, the Daily Guide and as well as the New Find. I'll start off with the Daily Guide as well. Big banner story: tension over Adamu's mines. Assembly calls on minister to act. Comes with a picture of Angela Liss, who is the Adamu CEO, and Emmanuel Amakufibua. Also, Gold Board support 10-year-old brain patient. The Base Ghana first sues the Base movement. Base Ghana versus Base. You let me finish the headlines. And then
they are splitting at the point of entry.
can you imagine? Base Ghana suing the Base movement. $8 million romance scam. Abu Trika gets 30 million cedis bail, and Get Fund releases 199.47 million cedis for free SHS TVET perishables. The New Finder is the last one in terms of all of the papers this morning. They lead with Ghana Posts or Ghana Post $3.69 billion in trade surplus early 2026. That sounds very positive. but we need to get into the details. If it's gold and oil that is leading, then it doesn't presuppose it's a lot of domestic production, which is creating a lot more jobs, and so perhaps we need a bit more in terms of the details as well. Prices of goods will not drop overnight. That's according to economists. Diaspora investment to drive 24-hour economy. Media partnership needed to boost public health awareness. Domestic debt rises to 333 billion cedis in December of 2025. Black Stars coach to be unveiled tomorrow. So let me start off in terms of the details with the base. Ghana first sues the base movement, because, like Johnny says, point of entry
cannot be the point of splitting up. Come on.
So the story is by Gabriel Abdul Razak. It reads that a legal battle has erupted between two new political movements, the Base Ghana First LBG and the Base Movement, over the use of name and official items. The Base Ghana First LBG, which broke away from the Base Movement, formed by veteran Ghanaian actor Alexander Kofi Edu, popularly known as Ejako, is accusing the defendant of misrepresentation and unauthorized use of souvenirs and items, as though the two groups were the same. The statement of case filed before... so the case is actually before the High Court.
Wow.
Filed before a High Court in Accra says both parties were all members of the Base Movement, but they formed the plaintiff company due to controversies and disagreement at decision-making and procedural abuse at the executive level of the Base Movement. According to the Base Ghana First, the chairman of the Base Movement, which they are all national executive members, unilaterally suspended the activities of the association and all the leaders and further removed them from all official platforms of the defendant company. See, the political party is not easy to form. Small disagreement and you're already in court. This one, they failed before they even started. They failed before they even started.
Is this the fourth force or the third force? We joke too much in this country. There are people who are also insisting that, look, that's supposed to be the wing that Mr. Kennedy Agyapong is bringing on. I don't know about that. Is it to give an impression that he has a big constituency that if they say on your marks, get set, he would use that to go and do negotiations? I don't know.
Okay, maybe I was waiting for you to finish.
I cannot say that. I don't know. I'm just asking questions. So, for example, questions have come as to who owned the house where the launch was done, who bankrolled the thing, printed the T-shirts, etc., refreshments, per diem.
Who is sponsoring all of this?
Who is bankrolling? Who is behind it? Is the gentleman that was put out there just a face fronting for somebody, the smoke screen, the facade for somebody else? I'm sure that if we are interested really, we'll find out who owns the house and they will tell us a lot. I mean, it will answer that conundrum for us.
It could be rented.
Well, somebody would rent his whole house for you to come and use it. Then the next day, it becomes what? A private residence again? And then now what? If people want to attack the political party, they come to your house?
No,
come on, Jai.
We are renting the space.
Jai, sir. You are renting it for how long?
It depends on who owns it.
Have you seen Engineer Kwabena Agyapong's place at is it Pyramid House? Yeah, what's this called? Yeah,
I think it's Pyramid House on the Ring Road.
He rented a space. This is how I expect the place. Proper branding. If you rent a place, a house like that for the launch of a political party, you will spec the place up. Won't you spec the place up?
Small beginnings, and so we don't want to make a lot of
at least you're painting them in your party colors.
Small beginnings.
It's the basic thing you can do.
We'll do all of that.
Okay, you consult for them.
Oh my goodness.
Charlie, but speaking of which, I know that we're in the autism awareness month. And Auntie Adole, good morning to you. I think that as a country, we haven't really paid attention, not just to autism, but to other special needs within our education space and even from a social protection standpoint. And it's a call that the Minister for Education, Minister for Health, and the Minister for Finance have to put together resources. In all of this conversation, I know that the Ghana Armed Forces is interested in trying to put together a special needs project, and people are asked to support and
Absolutely.
get
Donate
closer to
towards and all
donate
of
towards
that.
the construction of a preschool, basic school, and then second cycle institution. So that contribution is there. But from the state's point of view, what was the state's contribution? I know that there's a desk at the Ministry of Education. There's supposed to be an assessment center somewhere. That assessment center itself requires assessment, if you ask me. But then again, you find, Marina, that over time, there are children who are either have cerebral palsy, they have autism, they have all, other special needs, and they are put into regular school. So if the teacher is not well trained to, for example, identify the children right from the get-go, to say that, okay, person A, B, C, it has this situation, I recommend the person for assessment, and then based on that we can have special education for the person. That means that you're leaving the person behind. There are many names that you can mention: Lionel Messi, Beethoven, mention them, who are said to be on the autism spectrum. But look at the great stuff that they do out there. It's because there was a certain system out there that created the enabling environment for them. And then you find a situation where in the UK, for example, the children are put in a regular class, but there's one special needs teacher in that class, and that class is also not overpopulated. In our case, if you are not so lucky there, you find a teacher who doesn't understand what's going on, and the child will be at the whipping mercy of the teacher to say that Bosha, Wabong, Unimshi, and all of that. And I think that we need to, as a country, pay particular attention to it. Year on year, we as a country just mark the day, commemorate it, speeches here and there, we wear blue ribbons, we move around, people do their things. April will soon come to an end. Today is what, the 22nd of April. April will soon come to an end, and that's it. And do they continue living
until another year?
Yeah. Yesterday the schools reopened, right? Yesterday the schools reopened, and I mentioned Auntie Adole because she shared with me a story of about a 13 maybe 12-year-old boy who has autism but has been in a school that took care of him, paid attention to the needs, because I suspect that, like Auntie Adole, the lady has also lived out there before, and the boy is now so good. There are many instances like that.
They just need a bit
extra time and attention. How many schools would have the time to do that? I mean, we know the situation in most of our classrooms, overcrowded. Sometimes the teachers are frustrated, overwhelmed, underwhelmed, and it's a conversation that must be had. Who knows? The next president could be among them, and we may be here trying to just sideline all of them. Music, football, engineering. There are many fields that you find individuals who are said to have been on the spectrum or are on the spectrum, which is not curable, by the way, but it's manageable. So this morning we want to make a passionate appeal that we pay attention to this. It's very important that we do. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a call that I will gladly be a part of in terms of helping provide a bit more in terms of support. There's a lot that can be done. Government, private entities, and what have you in this regard as well. But I'm going to take us back to the Daily Guide, and because Abu Trika and his case, it was granted a 30 million cedis bail.
With two sureties to be justified.
With two sureties to be justified. And then when we return, I'll come and pick your thoughts on this transpositional error.
Charlie.
From
Mr. Kodo, Auditor General. Charlie.
And what you make of it. But the story is in the Daily Guide newspaper. That's what I'm reading from. The 8 million romance scam. Abutrika getting 30 million cedis bail. So a high court in Accra has granted a bail of 30 million to Frederick Kumi, popularly known as Abutrika, who is awaiting extradition to the United States over an alleged conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering, targeting the elderly, estimated at $8 million. As part of the bail conditions, the court has ordered him to present 2 sureties who must be justified with landed property. The decision came as a much-needed relief for Kumi, who's been in custody since his arrest in December of 2025 through a combined effort of local law enforcement agents and their U.S. counterparts. His previous attempt to secure bail while the extradition proceedings was pending failed. Multiple high courts refused all his applications filed by different lawyers. The Gbese District Court on March 27 cleared the path for Abutrika's extradition to the United States to face trial for allegedly defrauding elderly men and women of millions. So it's been almost a month.
That's right. Of back and forth,
yeah.
Trying to get him that bail. His counsel, Oliver Kavomawo, has been on social media as well, and he's been. But again, it raises questions. You know, we've been talking about extraditing people, and people asking when is the kind of Renata coming back, when is Sedinam Ationu, formerly of Maslow, coming back. We are thinking of giving Abutrika away to the Americans, but what do we get in return? And is it worth it? Any lessons learned for Abutrika? For many on the streets, if this is not properly explained to them, they might assume that this is the end. Yes, Abutrika is finally free. I remember that when he was first taken to the court and then remanded by the court and refused bail, you had people come up there and they didn't care what the facts of the
In fact, there was a protest outside of the court.
They didn't care what the facts of the case was. They didn't care what he said to have done or not done, the allegations, whatever, and how his lawyers were fighting the issues. They were just interested in him being released because they think that he's a breadwinner for many people. He takes care of the poor, the destitute, widows, young people, blah, blah, blah. He's a young Ghanaian who is trying to make ends meet for himself and all of that. I know the matter is in court, subjudication, so I won't go into all those conversations about how the money was made and etc. I would leave that for the court to discuss. I'm sure in future days when the court makes a final determination, we can have a further detailed bite on it.
On just before we get into the Kodo conversation, you know, when we read the headline about the country posting trade surplus, I said it should be driven by non-traditional exports and yes, I've just got the details. So gold is the reason why, but it's an upward increase by 72.7% as compared to this time last year.
Right.
So
means that we're doing something good.
Yes, that's largely due to gold exports. And so last year at about this time, we had trade surplus of $2.14 billion. This year we have $3.69 billion. What this means is that in terms of what we import and what we export far outstrips what we import by 3.69 billion. That means that'll be a bit more in terms of forex for us, which can help us cushion against the depreciation of the cedi. But again, I will want for it. Yes, gold is great, but it will be even better if these were other items.
Right.
A huge chunk of it being items like manufactured goods from here, then it will mean that it directly creates jobs outside of the mining and oil and gas sectors and cocoa as well.
We actually have cashew. I don't know why. You know, when this cocoa issue came up, I mentioned, and I was not so enthused. People are not happy with me. People are not happy with me most of the time because of things I say.
The line you told
and eventually they come back to what I used to say. I've seen the conversation now, that some conversations that we had maybe 2-3 years back now coming up strongly on the media front. Some other stations picking them up as if it's never been spoken about. There's no advocacy that's been done about it. But we can understand. People always will be people. Now, we have paid too much attention to cocoa. Not to say that we are ungrateful to cocoa and to give cocoa farmers what is due them. But what about cashew? Cashew is big, right? It has the potential, and we know a lot of the cashew farmers there. I was in the north. They said, "Well, you would have to help us because we are not getting the needed attention." I remember Nashoko went there on election command center, one of those debates, community engagements, and she had the same feedback from the people. Consistently, we seem not to have paid particular attention to them. Mina, did you know that even coconut is like a big cash cow? Because coconut has juice, coconut has the coconut flesh, coconut oil can be made from it. You have the husk that can be used for fuel, biofuel, and many other things that you can use coconut for. How have we as a country turned our attention to coconut? And coconut can grow almost any and everywhere in this country, depending on the species and how it's engineered. We have our CSIR here. They can do improved seedlings and put them out there. Growing up, you won't find a coconut tree that was not taller than maybe a 2-story, or maybe one story plus maybe a little half. These days, you can have coconut trees as short as my height, and you can pluck coconut. Yes, and it's ready for you to enjoy. You get the point. So we have come far. We have the potential. We have the opportunity. How are we dealing with it? Banana. It's a big deal out there. How are we cashing out on it? There are many things that we can do. Thankfully, God has blessed us. We have arable lands. We have dedicated people. What they need is the funding, financing, the technical people to help them, guide them. They have the willingness. We have all these young people complaining about we want jobs, blah, 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 blah. Can you imagine that we're just planting coconuts, cracking them, bottling them, using the coconut flesh itself to do some coconut oil. I mean, using what do you call it? There has to do some renewable fuel. And I'm talking about renewable fuel because in 2009, I remember so well, 2009, when Hillary Clinton came here, the Hillary Clinton Foundation, no, she didn't come here. She sent Rocky Dawoodi and Stephen Appiah. They were ambassadors. I remember at Best Western Hotel. And at that place, they had a very important conference and exhibition, Rights Multimedia. I'll say good morning to you. When they were talking about fuel from coconut husk. And in fact, some countries, I think Namibia, Kenya, they brought fuel that they had made from, what do you call it? Fuel that you can cook. So instead of your LPG, those things were available. SNV had used human waste to manufacture charcoal, and all of that. Do you see Japa coal-pots in town these days again?
Rarely.
The essence of the Japa coal-pot is to make you use less charcoal, right? And still get the same amount of heat and still even have some more heat after you are done cooking, because there's an earthenware pot that soaks the heat, and if you want to just fry your egg or something while you're finished, after you're finished cooking, you can just put it on there and it will do the work for you. Well, how we focus on just one or two things is a problem for me.
Yeah,
it's a problem.
We can do so much more for that. I mean, you hit the nail right on its head in terms of the potential that awaits us as a people, and as a country. But I want us to get into that Kudu conversation.
Transpositional error, yes. Retraction and apology.
Kuzo, can you show us the details of the Auditor General statement and the points they make? And then I'll have us listen to Yawapia Latte as well, who is a partner with Deloitte on what or how such a mistake will come about and potential processes to clean clean the audit up. And so this is the Auditor General's statement, or the Audit Services statement, which says, as the Office of the Auditor General has noted with grave concern a media publication citing Mr. Frank Oliver Podo, a public servant, as having received an earned salary of 427 million cedis. So I'm not reading all of that. 427 million cedis plus. Right? Per the Auditor General's report on the nationwide payroll audit for the period January 1, 2023 to June 30, 2025, dated 20th November 2025. Now, we wish to state that the amount attributed to Mr. Podo above was due to a transpositional error. The 427,995,661 relates to the Ministry of Education in respect of 3,476 unaccounted staff during the payroll audit. We offer our most sincere and unreserved apologies to Mr. Frank Oliver Podo for the distress and unwarranted public scrutiny this error may have caused.
Interesting. It's sad. The gentleman had suffered a lot of public bashing. But you see, Mr. Podo's case, and let me reiterate that he has the right to take any action that he deems fit against the Auditor General. But you see, Mr. Podo's case is peculiar because prior to this transpositional error that was hung around his neck, and now the AG has come to retract and apologize and etc., there was a conversation about some pickup vehicles that were supposed to have been procured for election monitoring, which also came up at the Public Accounts Committee, which shotgun has not been put back into the sheet. Do you get it? So we are apologizing to Mr. Podo, that's fine. The Auditor General failed to tell us that, okay, 424,995,661 Ghana cedis 40 pesos is what was transposed to him, or what the transpositional error captured. But what are the actuals? Did the Auditor General come back to see what the actuals are?
No, because I'm sure his name was in there because there was some end salary.
So now they mentioned an end salaries of people who were supposed to be at post but were not at post. Now, exactly how much accrued to him? That would have been fair in that release that was put out there by the Auditor General. That's one. Number two, it raises questions also about the fact that people are not at post and are earning salaries. A similar situation that we saw in the Ridge Hospital matter. There was a similar situation we saw in the Ridge Hospital matter. When the issue started popping up, the RAF issue started popping up, we got to know that there were actually nurses who had quit their jobs, right, without going through the system to be properly released, and the hospital continued to be functioning. Because to be a regional hospital, you required a certain number of nurses, doctors, blah, 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 to be able to function. And the kind of equipment, because the population that would be coming to you would have same for a district hospital and all of that. So now, Mr. Podo's woes were deepened because the first bullet that was shot, relative to the pickup vehicles that were supposed to be for the election monitoring, where he came with the military top officials to the Public Accounts Committee, has not been properly concluded. In fact, was he recommended that he should be put out there before the courts to answer why? You get the point. All of that conversation has not been done. And then now you have this one. It behoves on the Public Accounts Committee to be able to come to us to tell us that, look, thus far, this is what we have found, because the whole exercise is supposed to bring clarity, not confusion. Clarity of how much of our taxpayers' money has gone into whose hands or has not gone into whose hands, and for which purpose or for what purpose, and why, if it had not been used for the purpose for which it was intended, had been returned to government chest or has not been returned, and what sanctions are applying. So it is not about sitting on TV and shouting and saying that I am in charge, I have the full authority, and asking tough questions. the Public Accounts Committee must come with a lot of clarity, because feeding, accommodation, per diem, sitting allowance, all of those ones, and even the cost for the broadcast are taken care of by the ordinary citizen. So yes, sorry to Mr. Kodo, and he has the right to go and do whatever he wants to do in court. I won't fault him for that. But then the principal question that also raises is this: how did the Auditor General of all people get it wrong? This is our Auditor General. If we are looking for the best and the sharpest Auditor General in the country, it is our Auditor General. You know, be so. At least Mr. Domilevo showed us the way. But how is it that we have such an amount slapped onto somebody's head? And this gained a lot of public outcry, right? And I'm saying that on the strength of the first one, which is why perhaps the Auditor General went back to look at it. Did they have a proper audit conference with Mr. Kodo to conclude on the issues, to say that, okay, Mr. Kodo, you have received 427 million plus. What say thou? Did they go to Mr. Kodo? And what was Mr. Kodo's response? It's a conversation that must be had, though.
Absolutely.
Because look, within the public eye, this man is a thief. And I'm sure that he woke up one morning only to see this. I can only imagine how his children were dealt with in school. Your father is a thief, your father is a this, your father is a that. How does the Auditor General intend to repair their damage? With a press release, an apology, a retraction? Is that it?
Maybe the lawyer can help us appreciate. Good morning to you, Sixus. Trust at all as well.
Indeed, two of my favorite subjects have met: PR and law. That's why when you were talking about cool pots, Johnny was talking about cool pots, I was standing there watching. But when you mentioned this, I came.
Is there a remedy?
Well, the facts of your question is throwing me off, but
No, you answer that.
So let me start from the facts of the retraction and apology in itself is a remedy. I'm not sure how much Mr. Kodo can do with the original information based on the development from the audit service, that they have realized their mistake and they have come back to retract and apologize. But of course, any adventurous lawyer can still test the law on defamation on this matter to see whether, given the length of time within which the issue was out there and the deliberations
it was actually all within 24 hours, but the thing really spread fast.
It spread far and wide.
Yeah.
And so how swiftly the audit service acted in this matter may also be taken into account, that yes, you made a mistake, there was an error, and you immediately acted to correct the error. But of course, like I said, any adventurous lawyer can still decide to, stretch and test the limits of the law to see just how far the courts would accommodate him. But let me double back. I saw the statement and I kept asking. I'm not an accountant. I'm not an auditor. I have no accounting. The only accounting I ever did in my entire life is legal accounting. That's I'm not a C-top. I don't like accounting. I don't like numbers. If you say 1 + 1, I'll say 2. If you say 1 + 1 - 1 + 2, then cane me. You have confused me. You see that thing we used to do, mental. So I don't claim knowledge on this subject matter. But if you say transpositional error, what does it mean? Transpositional error it means a specific thing. The business people will educate us. You see, if you have 27 written as 72, if you have 25 written as 52, to transpose something. So that is when numbers are just simply switched. I take away the simply. Numbers are switched innocently. It is what we call an honest mistake. There was an honest mistake. So you intended to write 724,000 and you wrote 427 million. You get it. So transpositional error means something in accounting or in the business management sphere. If you say typo, what's that?
Transpositional.
Transpositional. No, I'm moving on to the
typographical
typographical error. It also means something. Typographical error, you are typing something, also an honest mistake. There's no intention whatsoever to undo, underdo, overdo. So you are typing waste dumping continuous at one landfill site. Then you type waste dumping continuous at one Labadi. I mean, it's a typographical error. I understand there are a number of errors, but this
clerical errors.
Yeah.
I wonder whether this was actually a transpositional error. Indeed, I don't believe, because I'm not an expert in this area, I'm a bit hesitant, but I don't believe that this can be classified as a as a transpositional error. I don't believe so.
You see, exactly what I was asking that. They have mentioned 427 million plus, which they say was a transpositional error. Now, your explanation that there has to be something, in fact, a number that we miswrote.
Exactly.
To then now say this was transposed.
So even that new number we don't know.
Thank you. So
Yes,
now,
even that number
in
we
that
don't
press release, this was the transposed number.
Yes.
What is the standard? What is the original number?
They
That is
failed
missing.
to mention that. They failed to mention that. And that is a point I was driving at. For us
But is it I asked the question, is it material, considering they are trying to salvage a situation where they've caused the man unnecessary public disaffection?
No, but this one then opens the can of worms. Look, I play the keyboard. Now, or even the guitar. If you're using a capone, all right, on a lead guitar, you can choose a key C. That's what you know how to play. But then you use the capone to clip it and transpose it down like one or two, steps, so that it gives you now no longer C, but you have moved to key D. Same with keyboard, you can transpose. So it moves you from one key to the other, either forward or backwards. So then the standard will be that, okay, you have chosen to play maybe key G on key F, right? So key G on key F means that you have to shift the transposition by 2 to the forward, to the front. So then you will be playing. Somebody who doesn't understand or who knows may look at it and say, oh, you are playing key F. But then if somebody comes, maybe a trumpeter comes who cannot transpose his trumpet or his trombone, he picks it, he can tell that you have transposed from key F to key G. Now that transposition is not there. So that the integrity of the man, however they are trying to resolve it, has not been resolved. However they are trying to do it. And I'm saying I can imagine how his wife, his children, his church members, his former friends and current friends, his schoolmates, I'm imagining. How?
So,
Charlie.
So you see, the fact is that you had the opportunity to correct an error. And I'm not seeking to speak to the mind of, be it the auditor who worked specifically on this case, the second eye who looked into it, the typist who typed out. Do we still have typists? Who typed?
Some of the jobs are faded out.
And telephonists.
Telephonists. Do we? And I'm not seeking to speak to their state of mind at the point they were doing this. That's why I also stated that all of these are honest mistakes, meaning that the person did not set out to cause any injury. The person did not set out to hurt any reputation or to damage anybody's character. It just happened. And so we can call it an honest mistake and call on Mr. Podo to double down on, and don't be too excited about running under the cover of the law. That is what we can say. But it does not, it also exposes the audit service in a big and terrible way. You asked a question about the materiality of the figure. Was it a figure? How significant was this? We cannot tell because we don't know what the original figure is. If we're able to tell that, they intended to write 427,000 cedis, and they ended up writing 427 million.
Or even 427 cedis.
Or even 427 cedis. Then they ended up writing 427 million.
Or 42 cedis, 7 pesos.
Yeah.
They should tell us what it is.
So that should have been included. That we know that this is what we set out to do, but we made a mistake along the way. So the audit findings, does the audit findings contain the actuals? Or, and which would mean that it was in the typing process that the error occurred. Or the audit findings itself does not have what should be the actual. In which case we'll now begin to question the expertise of the auditor who worked on the job. But even in any of those cases, we still cannot say that they set out to do Mr. Podo in, because this came out at the same time with the procurement, the vehicle procurement matter. It's contained
just
in
around
the
the
same
same time.
document.
Yes.
So you
No,
cannot
I think
say
this is a completely different document, because this was a specific payroll audit.
Right.
The other one had
It's
to
a
do
general,
with
general
had to do
annual
with
audit. Yeah.
audit of payables, which the government said, no, we need to look into these matters, because some of the monies we are seeing, they don't make sense. And then there was a special audit as well. So there are two separate special audits, one into payroll and one into payables. So you
done
realize
by
that
different auditors
So,
within the service.
I don't know if they were
We can't
different
tell.
auditors,
Yes.
but they were separate audits. So if you realize the other one, which he was before the Public Accounts Committee for, it had to do with vehicles, projects, amount of monies which were supposed to go into project and what have you. And this one is payroll specific. And if you look at the details, there's Office of Government Machinery, there's there are different ministries and agencies where persons receive salaries which were not due them, and so it's two completely separate audits.
So and it's good you make that point, because that also feeds into the general point I'm making about the state of mind of the service when they did this, and all of that argument I'm making is just to say that Mr. Podo may want to test the law, but this may not be the right time. And we don't also know, was this error identified by the audit service itself? Or Mr. Podo was the one, because he's the affected person, he decided to go through and he realized that no, something doesn't add up here. Let me call the people and ask them what is happening. In any case, there's always a conference.
Mr. Podo was saying, yes, of course.
There's always a management conference
And an audit conference.
on these things. So did that conference happen? Was Mr. Podo written to respond to the audit findings before the final publication? So I have also made the point that, look, this exposes the audit service in a big way, both in its PR systems and in its technical competence systems, which they really, really have to do better at dealing with than issuing a statement. That statement is not enough. It's not okay.
Charlie, they created too many ghosts for one man. It's not fair.
And I want to make a point as well in addition to this. Then I'll have us listen to Yawa Pialati, who sort of walked us through what goes on when an audit is done and how such errors can be dealt with.
Yes.
I think I don't want to say for a matter of fact, but to a great degree of truth, analytical caps were off when this was reported. Because to have this amount pinned onto one man meant he was receiving in excess of 14 million cedis every month.
Yeah.
For 29 months.
That's not
and
fair.
The controller and account, if we averred our minds a bit to the workings of how salaries are paid,
The gift miss process.
perhaps we would have been kind to have called out the initial report to say, no, this doesn't make sense. One man cannot be receiving 14 million cedis every month and no system flags it. You know, yes, I saw people making.
He's receiving how much?
No, per this amount, it meant he would have been receiving in excess of 14 million
plus
cedis every month.
How much is the president of
Exactly.
the Republic paid?
No individual. And I mean, I can be corrected. You
I
can
don't
go.
know why Kennedy Japan wants to be president. When you can be receiving 14
You
million
can go
without
onto
the
our
office.
social media, Facebook to be specific, and let us know if you know a job where they pay in excess of 14 million cedis a month.
Yes.
Then you tell us. Then maybe we will all leave the console and we'll go and look for 14 million cedis a month. Because I feel if we paid particular attention to how much the breakdown looked like, perhaps we would have asked harder questions of the entire process and said, no, I don't think, because if 14 cedis goes through controller and
14
accountant,
million or not 14 cedis.
14 million.
There will go.
Oh, 14 cedis will go. If 14 million cedis goes through controller
It will be
every
flagged.
month,
In fact, even FIC will flag
Yes.
it. It would be.
No, but-
they would ask, what kind
The
of work do
question
you do?
is, does the controller have the power to ask questions about?
no, they
salaries?
should.
No. Let's stick to the facts.
So these are.
What is the mandate of the? So government presents what's that? Pay slip
Pay slip, yeah.
to controller.
Right.
Say pay Johnny 10 Ghana, pay Mawina 15 Ghana,
Right.
pay Phil 25 Ghana. I'm controller. These pay slips have been brought to me. Is it my place to question why is Phil receiving 25 Ghana? Do I have? I think we need a management systems
Right.
person. to deal with this.
Which is a fair point, but based on working knowledge, and I say working knowledge based on this job that we've done and the numerous interaction, by virtue of the singular delay fresh public servants go through in terms of documentation and approvals and what processes it has to go through, I know that the controller doesn't just receive pay slip, but will receive additional documentation to back why monies will be released or will be paid into your account every month. Which is why I say that if the inner workings are such that it is up to scratch, if they do valuations and check, okay, this is how much we've been paying this individual, as to when did it jump to 14 million a month, I'm sure there will be those
There would have been questions.
Yeah, there will be those questions.
There would have
But
been questions.
I want us to listen to Mr. Latte,
Latte.
who explains what the processes are, and then perhaps we'll come back to whether or not there are even more bigger questions for the audit service to answer in terms of this particular development.
Yeah, okay. So thank you very much. I think we need to clarify the error that is being mentioned here. So in layman's language,
Sunrise on
and
3FM,
anyone who's
the
done
best
basic
in the
accounting,
morning.
the number of errors that are described when you're doing accounting and reports of this nature. And one of those errors is what has been mentioned as transpositional error. But if you look at the substance or the subject that is being discussed, it doesn't qualify to be described as a transpositional error. Transpositional error, in simple terms, is an error that involves turning a number around or a group of numbers around. So if you have 69 and you report it as 96, it's a transpositional error. If you have 56 and you write it or report it as 65, it's a transpositional error. So 69, 96, just turning the number around, that's transpositional error. And it happens in basic accounting where on the debit side of your records, you've recorded the 69, but on the credit side, instead of recording the 69, you went to record 96. So that's what we call transpositional error. So on one side, you've recorded the right figure. On the other side, where the corresponding entry should have been entered, you turn the number around and you recorded the number that's been turned around. That's transpositional error. So the figure, the original error that was made, or the original figure that was reported, is 427 million Ghana cedis, 995,661, compared to what has now been corrected as 922,000. So 422,920 Ghana cedis. So it is, in simple terms, a typographical error. So it doesn't appear on the face of it that any number was turned around. Ordinarily, if what the transpositional error is anything to go by, then what should have happened is that the 427 should have ended up 724. So that's turning the number around. But the number was not turned around. It was just a number that was overly stated and stated in millions when it's not supposed to be in millions, but it was supposed to be in thousands of Ghana cedis. And instead of 422,000 Ghana cedis, it turned out to 27 million Ghana cedis. What this means in principle is that the person involved is supposed to have earned 427 million Ghana cedis over a period of 29 months. That works to 14.7 million Ghana cedis a month. Under no circumstance would anybody have an authorization to earn a salary of 14.7 million a month. The average public sector CEO is not paid 14 million Ghana cedis a month. And I'm not sure who on the payroll ranks is paid 14 million Ghana cedis a month. And so if you go through the authorization all the way to Controller and Accountant General, there's no way a 14.7 million would have been authorized as salary payment to anyone. So I think for those who reported it and those who went to the process of auditing, did not do a basic check of what the numbers meant, that an individual would have been earning 14.7 million Ghana cedis a month. So I think these are my preliminary comments.
I see, and it's a fundamental issue that you raised there about even on the face of it, this should have raised some questions. But then again, it went on, it was reported, and in fact, this gentleman was questioned about this. If it's not a transpositional error, then what is it? Why is the Auditor General describing this, what we are seeing as a transpositional error, when clearly, with the explanation you've just given us, I mean, it's totally understandable. You don't even have to have accounting knowledge or basic accounting knowledge to know this. The numbers have been transposed. But that's not what we're seeing right now. This is a huge error. How would you describe this one?
This one is a typical what we say in the daily administration, a typographical error. So the person who was supposed to type 422 million or 422,000 Ghana cedis ended up typing 427 million Ghana cedis. So it's a number that was overstated and it's coming out of a typographical error. And I guess if those who were doing the secondary checks were checking, then obviously this would have been picked up and corrected as early as possible.
And I'm going to show the audit service letter again, because that puts this matter into a particular context. And then also, I'll come back to you, Yao. I have a private legal practitioner, Christian Mam Hesse, also on Zoom with us to find out if there's any form of compensation beyond an apology for this gentleman. If you look at the paragraph 2, it says Frank Oliver Kodo, this is a public servant in question, who was reported to have received an unearned salary that he did not deserve of this amount, 427,995,000. Per the Auditor General's report, nationwide payroll audit said, well, this is a transpositional error. They said, quote, we wish to state that the amount attributed to Mr. Kodo above was due to a transpositional error. So that's what's captured in there. You see it there. And this is bolded and clear now on the screen. Now, so if this was a typographical error, and this was captured in the report, it was published on the website, and the Public Accounts Committee even had to have some time to even look at it. At what point should this have been detected? You know, especially when this went through a certain procedure. Yeah, is it not? I mean, you have an understanding of the public sector, how it works. It went through a certain procedure even before it was published on the audit service website. So at what point could this have been flagged that it wasn't done, and then this gentleman had to face all of this criticism and defamation for that matter?
Yes. So if I could explain what typically happens in an audit process. So in a simple audit process involving any accounting firm or audit committee or audit group, what happens in a team is that we would have junior officers led by a supervisor who goes to the field to gather all the information. So what technically would have happened, or typically could have happened in this case, is that they would have gone to the Ministry of Defense, reviewed all the payroll, flagged unearned salaries. And unearned salaries, as has been mentioned, and if anybody wants to know what unearned salary is, there are some individuals who are supposed to be on steady leave without pay, for instance. So if an individual is on steady leave without pay, and the person is receiving salary, the person is taking unearned salary, there are individuals that are not supposed to be on certain grade, and they are being paid at a grade that they are not on, maybe at a higher grade. The person's portion or a portion of the person's salary is unearned. So unearned salary arising out of instances like this can be detected when you check the payroll in the system. You run through your checks, your verification, check in the first place whether the individual has reported to duty, and there are ways of just checking whether the person is at post. Secondly, you check whether the person is supposed to earn a salary at the rank at which the person's letter of employment or even current rank is. So if you check these two and you find any anomaly, then what you need to go do is to go to the second verification step. So that's what you've identified or you have seen on the ground. The audit team on the ground would have identified this error and have pointed out that there's an unearned salary in respect of a certain individual. In this case, you will still use the person concerned, Oliver. So then you ask yourself, how can I do a secondary check? And the secondary verification comes in a number of forms. So can be 2 or 3 of these forms to be stated. So the first one is third-party confirmation. You can check the person's bank statement or the entity's bank statement, whether the ministry or the department involved has been making such payments, or where the individual concerned comes to you with a bank statement. You can use a bank statement verification to check. The second one is to use the person's pay slip, because it's a payroll error. You have to check the person's pay slip. So you can have the accountant at the office or at the ministry of the department print a pay slip of the individual concerned over the period, the 29 months that we are talking about here. And you'd have seen that the person's pay slip would have stated 14.7 million Ghana cedis being paid to him on a monthly basis. And so that would not have happened if that secondary check had been done. The third one is to go through your internal quality review process. I think in this circumstance, this what may have likely happened in the case where I said in the audit team, you have a senior that's leading a team to the field. It is reviewed, the initial report is reviewed by a manager. Then the manager work is then reviewed by another senior person, whether a senior manager or a director, and the partner. And the partner who reviews it, and it goes to another partner for quality check. So if you go through all these processes, about 4-5 different processes of reviews, this would have been picked up.
process, right? And so it begs for us.
How
to ask a
did
number of
they
questions,
miss it?
You know,
That's the question. How did they
there
miss
are a
it?
few questions that will be asked of the.
And the
of
question
the
then
audit
stretches to how many more transpositional errors have there been? And was if Mr. Kodo is speaking up now, but what about the others who couldn't speak up? What happened to them?
If you see, if there's an audit report and you see your name, some figure against your
Yeah,
name,
you shocked. Say, hey, is it me? Is it me?
And I'm still like this.
Are they talking about me?
And then by now, Mr. Podo owns an island, though.
He actually raked
427
in that
million.
much, eh?
By now, he owns an island
Charlie.
somewhere we don't know.
Charlie, 40 million Ghana cedis a month.
But this is serious. This is really a serious case that, as I said, the audit service should do more than just issuing a statement. The statement will not suffice it needs to look into its internal organization, the structures, the processes and procedures. It couldn't have. You see, the resource person was explaining the process. It starts with somebody collecting data from the source, the body being audited. That's the beginning point. But I'm sure that at every stage there would be a certain oversight, because you are dealing with numbers. It's normal. Somebody can get tired and write something he shouldn't have written or she shouldn't have written. So I'm sure that there should always be a third eye, from the beginning to the end of the process, which is also another reason why I believe the management conference exists, so that you respond to the queries that have been raised by the auditor. Give your position. In covering the Public Accounts Committee, I have seen instances where organizations would come as early back as Napo being education minister.
That's 2017.
I was in that room when institutions will come and say, this action was taken, that action was taken, but had not been captured by the auditor, or the actions were taken post the audit. And so even though it's captured in the report, and it was not dealt with by the management report, some action had been taken to remedy the situation or to point out an error in the situation. So I believe that, yes, errors do occur. They are innocent. They may be forgivable. But what we are seeing now, I think should cause the audit service to sit up, go through its processes. Again, I don't want to read any ill intent into this, that anybody set out to do Mr. Podo in. I don't believe it is the case. In the face of any further evidence, I don't believe it is the case. I believe this was innocent. It was an error.
Charlie,
it is an error.
Mr.
But
Domelevo
it should not. It is unforgivable that an error of this magnitude should occur. That is unforgivable.
Mr. Domelevo has given us the standard. Why are we dropping the ball? Why are we dropping the ball? He gave us the standard, and he was even ready to take the people onto court. You know, that's the strongest conviction that somebody can have, that I know you took the money, and you are saying you didn't. Okay, let's meet in court. Let's deal with the matter. If you are talking about transpositional errors, first year no transpositional errors, Charlie.
And then
slow down.
The PR attempt is another problem.
You had wanted to speak to that.
It was not strong enough.
No, at all. I mean, you should be able to set out what the facts are what has been misconstrued. And this thing that everything that happens, people want to blame the media.
Charlie,
Did the media do the work with
Charlie,
you?
this is crisis management, though.
Did the media do the work
Crisis
with you?
management, you first admit,
Admit that
and then
there
you
was a
tell us
problem.
what the point A
It should
is,
have been this.
and then you go on
But
to
it
do
turned
the
out
other
to be
one.
this.
Who is taking this one about blaming the media?
Who is?
I want to understand the point you're making about.
Oh,
people wanting
about
to
the
blame
media broadcasting the thing as if there's some.
But
magic
you have
wand
brought
that-
us news. What do you want us to do? You have come to tell us that you found ghost names, and that you found one person who are taking so much from the public or received so much from the public coffers. Should it not be a matter of public interest for us to tell the people how many people have access to that report? How many people this morning will even go onto the Auditor General's website to go and find even the 2025 audit report? People don't, they depend on us for that kind of information. So if we read the thing printed in black and white and we highlight it and the thing goes to the ends of the world, why are you blaming us? Did we generate the
I told
document?
some policeman something. He said, "You are doing your job. Me too. I'm doing my job. At best, your job should complement mine or protect me in doing mine.
Right.
Not seek to attack or downplay mine. But that is the bottom line. Your job is to do this. Your job is to bring a report. My job is to tell people what the report says.
Tell it
what
to the
is
world.
inside the report. So the PR attempt was also a big problem. And the audit service should look at that one as well.
Well, the waste dumping continues at Bone landfill site. You know that this was set up around 1996, my memory serves me right, under Jerry Rawlings, for the people in Tema and the environs in Tema. We're told that it has lived beyond its what do you call it? Its lifespan, and it's supposed to be closed down.
The landfill has expired.
Yes, maybe I read. Okay. So, with an estimated lifespan of 33 years, the Bone landfill site, which was commissioned in the year 1996 and originally intended to serve. Okay, I was right about 96. Originally intended to serve only the Tema municipality, has long outlived its capacity as it now serves several adjoining districts, contributing to its rapid deterioration. So 1996 to now, well, it's gone beyond that, right? 2006, 2016, 2026, 30 years, maybe 3 years more. But the place is full. The Minister for Local Government says the place is full and will have to end. It brings to mind, Marina, elsewhere, like rubbish or bola is cash, trash is cash. Why is ours a problem? Trash is cash elsewhere. You know, I have a habit of segregating my waste.
At home.
Yes. You know the painful part, Marina? When the guy comes from the waste
He
management
mixes
company,
everything.
they jump everything. So I say,
You know there your time.
So what is the essence?
why
of
have
you
I
separate?
wasted my time? You know, consciously, if you travel outside, when you get to where, like if for example, if you lived in an apartment or a rented space, an Airbnb, you go down there to where you're supposed to leave your waste. You find organic, you find plastic, you find blah blah. In fact, in some countries, you yourself can pick your plastics and go and recycle them, go and put them in and collect some small coins to use it to buy one or two things. So that thing has stayed with me. Then you find so I try to teach my children that you put all the organic waste in the black poly bag, you put all the plastic bottles in the white poly bag, and then we have a blue one. You put all the metals and other ones in
They
them.
will waste your
When
time.
the guy comes, they actually collect all the 3 bags. So in my mind, okay, they are going to do something. The one day I said, okay, let me follow this guy. You know those big trucks that they have with the compressors. So I went there, I stood there. Then he took the first poly bag, just tossed it in. Took the second one, tossed it in. Took the third one, tossed it in. I said, Masa, who said my separate it? Or see, they do headquarters. I best separate. And that's what they do literally. So they pack it, they get whether it's Zoom Lion, J Stanley Usu, whichever one it is. They just pick everything and then they take it there and then they try and sort it out there. That for me, I think, is why we have this landfill problem. Because if we were segregating the refuse properly, to even say that, look, Mondays are just for polythene and plastics. Mondays. So Monday, when the truck comes around, if you have plastic bags, poly bags, you have PET or bottles, plastic bottles, Monday. Then maybe Wednesday we come, we say, okay, organic alone. Or maybe you can do organic twice because it has the potential of fermenting.
Yeah.
Then we can do the other stuff on another day. How difficult would that be?
You see, the point you make is it speaks directly to waste management.
Yeah.
And
So our people are not managing waste; they are collecting waste.
and the understanding of waste management. I think it will be fair for me to say that what we do right now is just collection. There is no idea about segregation, that waste can mean something else, and there is a complete disconnect between the landfill site, the recycling plant. There's a disconnect.
Yeah.
What I try to do is all of the bottles that there's a separate bag where I keep all the bottles.
Right.
And even with that, there's a challenge as to how I can dispose it
Yeah.
of. So sometimes it can be there and it will continue to pile
Joe,
up,
if you give
pile
it
up,
to them,
pile
they'll
up,
pile
up.
everything together. But we know that. Look, we know that. Zoom Lion, for example, has been doing fertilizers with Ebola. Is that not so? When Russia and Ukraine started fighting, our former Greek minister came to tell us that, look, urea is becoming a problem. It's becoming a difficult time trying to find urea. And I'm not talking about urea cola. I'm talking about urea, for fertilizers. Now, question is, like the government will say, fertilizer. We're eating banana every day. We're eating oranges every day. We're eating pineapples every day. We're eating cassava every day. We're eating plantain every day. We're eating cocoyam every day. We're eating maize every day. We're eating, mention them, kinky every day.
Different things.
All those things put together. There's a way the scientists know that we can add this and that, put it together, and that's your manure. And that's manure right there that doesn't have the chemicals and everything else that's killing us. The things we import, they're killing us. But we don't care. We have imported now, even when we want to import maybe rubber bowls, we are importing rubber bowls. Look at the amount of plastic every day. Pure water. Look at the amount of plastics people go and drink their favorite beverages. No advertisement for anybody this morning if you have not paid us money. But how do we do it?
How do we even?
One day I'll take you to Choco. We'll find one of where did we go on the bus rides in last year, the last 2 years? The Shabu area. It was not Shabu. Shabu is this way. This one is what have I forgotten the place? Mampubi, yes. Where the tidal waves were, yes. Charlie,
It's not Shabu.
it's not Shabu. Shabu is towards Kwashima. That's Grace Ambassador's place.
Shabu is Dansumano. I was born.
Dansuman inside.
I was born at Shabu.
Okay, there's Shabu, but then the one that this is Kwashibu, and this is Shabu.
Yeah.
So I was
The tidal wave where
Yes,
the waves are eating the
so
whole.
it's Shabu.
Shabu
So
and
that
it's
is Shabu.
orange, yeah.
This place is Kwashibu, but this is Shabu. And look, we saw a giant gutter, huge gutter, before that end.
Plastics.
Charlie, when you stand there, Marina, carpet, it be full carpet of waste. And I ask myself, all this is going to end up in the sea. Then some fisherman will go and spend money to go and buy premix fuel, mend his net.
You go and be catching plastic bottles.
Yes. I mean, why?
Let me read this message. I was asking the question about the the role of the
Audit,
controller
yeah.
general in checking all of this. So I got a message that says that The various heads of accounts at the MDAs validate the payroll before payments are made.
Right.
And they send me a sample. Salary payment voucher for April 2026 is ready for validation. Kindly log on to the site is given to validate your payment voucher. Starts at 4 p.m. today, ends on 23rd at 4 p.m. So this is incidentally a message that was sent yesterday to somebody to validate.
Charlie, so if you don't validate, you're not getting your salary.
So my point is, it means that this validation caters for whatever other action controller will take.
Did Mr. Kodo validate 40 million every month?
You understand why it just could not be. That's why I said, if you were a bit analytical, you realize that this thing could have been flagged and it couldn't have happened. There's another
Charlie,
message.
14 million.
That defamation may not lie for him because of the apology.
Yes. That was the point I started from.
The point also is that it's a very gray area, and so
remember I started by saying that
you can take that up.
Retraction and apology may remedy whatever concerns he has. But if you are adventurous, and off air, I was telling you something. If you are adventurous, you may just want to test.
Murtala is here. He will do sports for us now and bring us the very latest from the world of sports as well.
This morning, Black Stars head coach Carlos Queiroz will address the media on Thursday, that is tomorrow, and Ghanaians have shared their thoughts on what he must change in the Black Stars. Also in the camp of Asante Kotoko, their head coach Prince Yausu has stepped down from his role, and Hamza Obain takes a charge. Also, the Milo Under 13 championship has kick-started. All that and more right here on Sunrise. Let's settle for the details and start off with the Black Stars, where their head coach Carlos Queiroz will address the press at a conference on Thursday, that is April 23rd, 2026, at the Alisa Hotel in Accra. The event, scheduled for 1 p.m., will bring together members of the media to interact with the Portuguese trainer following his appointment as a Black Stars head coach last week. Ahead of the unveiling, 3 Sports hit the streets of Accra to ask some fans the things that Carlos Queiroz must change within the Black Stars. Ghanaians sharing their thoughts on Carlos Queiroz. In some other news, Prince Yaosu has stepped down from his role as the interim head coach of Asante Kotoko with immediate effect, bringing his short stint at the helm of affairs to an end. Head of Akoma Sports, that is Richard Champon, popularly known as Pepe Suarez, has detailed incidents that led to the resignation of Prince Yaosu. Richard Echampo there detailing why Prince Yaosu has stepped down from his role as the interim head coach of Asante Kotoko. So Hamza Issa, the second assistant, will take charge of the team for the remaining 6 games before the season ends. So let's do some national team stories again. And former Ghana defender Samuel Sekofo has delivered a brutally honest critique of the Black Stars, warning that the persistent structural issues could see the team struggle against any opponent if urgent reforms are not made. In an exclusive interview with 3 Sports, the former Bayern defender argued that the Black Stars may not be able to beat any team in the world if immediate changes are not made. Sami Osei Kufuor there. Now, Black Stars forward Praise Kwabena Edu has detailed his journey from the Ghana Premier League to Czech Republic. The former Bichim United striker says it's not been easy journey, but there's more he can do to reach top level football. Kwabena Edu has been with the Black Stars in recent time, where he played in the Kirin Cup and also Ghana's 2 friendly games against Austria and Germany, where the Black Stars lost by a total goal of 7. Prince Kwabena Edu there. Let's do some grassroots football now, where 16 teams participating in the 2026 Milo Under 13 Championship have all gathered in the Western region, Isipon to be precise, where the tournament is being held. This is the 2026 edition, and this initiative actually aims to unearth and nurture talent for national development. The 16 teams have been grouped into 4 groups of 4, with the opening ceremony and first game scheduled to take place, that is today, and the final would also be played on Saturday, that is April 25th. And it is one of the competitions that has actually produced a lot of talent for Ghana, and we'll be looking at it and keeping a close eye. So if you want all updates on the Milo Under 13 Championship, just take to 3 Sports on all our socials. Let's do some women's football, where the Black Queens have moved 3 places up the FIFA ranking, and our women's football expert, Akosua AJ, has a lot more on the Queens.
Took into consideration matches that were played between the 23rd of February to the 19th of April. And for the Black Queens, because they had the opportunity to play 2 games in the Pink Ladies Cup, which they won, it helped them to gain the necessary points needed to keep them still at the 3rd position on the African continent, but 3 steps higher on the world ranking. The Black Queens will now have to prepare for the next international break, which is in June, to prepare themselves for some games so that they can keep themselves afloat on the FIFA ranking.
Akosua AJ on the Black Queens, who have moved 3 places on the FIFA women's ranking. Let's wrap up in Europe, where it is a sad one for Leicester City and their fans, because they have suffered a shocking relegation to League One, with Ghanaian internationals Jordan Ayew and Fatai Sahaku among the players affected by the club's dramatic collapse in the 2025-26 season. The Foxes, who were already competing in the championship following their relegation from the Premier League last season, endured a difficult campaign marked by inconsistency and missed opportunity. Their fate was sealed last night when they drew 2-2 with Hull City at the King Power Stadium. So the news is that Leicester City have been relegated to League One. In the Premier League, Chelsea crashed to a dismal 3-0 defeat against Brighton and Hove Albion, leaving their hopes of qualifying for the Champions League in tatters as the pressure mounts on their boss, that is Liam Rosenwa. Rosenwa side produced one of their worst performances of a miserable season as Fedi Kadloglu puts Brighton ahead in the first half before Jack Henswood and Danny Welbeck netted after the interval. It is the first time that Chelsea have lost 5 consecutive league games without scoring since 1912, fittingly the year that the Titanic actually sank. So Chelsea are going down. This time they no longer hold the 6th place, and it looks like Champions League football, may elude them for another season. That's all by way of sports here on 3FM Sunrise. My name is Mutala Yakubu. For more sports, log on to our socials at 3sportsgh, and you can also find more on www.3news.com/sports.